The Detroit Lions season ended, and it ended almost the best way possible. They were a half game short of the 2022 playoffs. And that's saying a lot, considering that this team started 1-6. 1-6, we all know what happened. I was beginning to question the ability of Dan Campbell and his ability to coach, the ability of Brad Holmes when James Houston didn't make the team initially. The fact that our defense was horrendous in 2021 and he went Jamison Williams. But then he made it up to me with all defense, right? Well, not all defense, but 6 out of the 8 players selected in the 2021 draft were defense. They all made the team. And James Houston came out of nowhere as a stud. Aiden Hutchinson, in my opinion, should be Rookie of the Year. So the man has shown that he knows what he's doing. Now, I know that some have not always had faith in Brad Holmes. I know that they haven't. He's had to earn my faith and earn my trust. And he has it. He has it. And as fans of the team, sometimes we think that these players may not understand what we're going through, may not have the same drive, the same emotion, may not want to see the history. How can they know? How can they know about the pain that Detroit Lions fans have been through for 60 plus years? How can they really understand the 1957 rebuilding since 1957? How can they know? Right? But shout out to my guy again, Mr. Poole. This is going to air tonight. This is a sneak peek that Danny Rogers put on our Twitter account. And I wanted to bring this in because this right here got your boy emotional. This got your boy emotional. All right? This is Brad Holmes on Inside the Pride tonight. Should be airing at 7:30, I believe. So look for that to come out. Danny Rogers is asking him. I'll let you guys hear it for yourself. Check it out.
A couple of other foundational pieces, like offensive lineman Penei Sewell, receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown, they thanked you this past week for bringing them here to Detroit. Mm-hmm. What is your response to them?
Hey, that means a lot. Those guys, you go through a lot. Didn't have to get emotional with this, but you go through a lot in the process, the pre-draft process, and acquiring those guys. Mm-hmm. And it's certain guys that stand out in the process. So like Penei Sewell, I remember we did so much work on him, and then finally me and Dan had a Zoom meeting with him. It was like right before the draft, and I'd never forget, like, it was something about him. It was something about him and just the way that he carried himself and the way that he spoke about his background and his family, and just it was something about him that was like, me and Dan were like, this kid's the guy.
That was your GM, Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes, and I don't know if you could hear the emotion in his voice. Denny asked him, said that Amon-Ra St. Brown and Penei Sewell, who were drafted both in 2021, how they thanked him for bringing them to the city of Detroit. I saw the Penei Sewell video where he said he couldn't imagine being anywhere else, and he thanked the GM for bringing him to Detroit, the guys in Detroit. Now you talk about what that does. All I had to hear for the last 72 hours is how the Detroit Lions won a meaningless game. Are you kidding? We had a chance to be 9-8, a winning record, something we haven't done in 6 years. On top of that, we showed off on national television the most watched Sunday Night Football with 28 million viewers. For our Detroit Lions, this is the team that the NFL decided not to put in prime time. But guess what? They gonna learn today. We showed them not only are we here, but we gonna show off. Brad Holmes with the emotion, the tears. Because I know he don't get enough love. I know he ain't get it from me. I know that. You know, us Detroit Lions fans, we got a really, really, really low tolerance. Our patience is low. This man is brought in here to shake SOL. Imagine that. Imagine that, having that responsibility, dealing with fans like us, dealing with decades, over half a century of incompetence, except a few years. This guy right here, not only does his work speak for itself, it's time to show some love to Brad Holmes. 100%. 100%. Because we had 2 of our stud draft picks, number 7 and our 4th round pick, thank a man for bringing them to our city. Imagine how big that is. Our city, the city nobody wants to come to, the city Matthew Stafford left. Yeah, okay, I get it. You've been here 12 plus years. I get it. But the city people retreat from, the city that is known to end players' careers. Right? That's a big deal. And I think that Brad Holmes deserves some love for what he's been able to do. You know, it was a lot of people was dogging this man from the moment he stepped foot, absolutely destroying YouTube video after YouTube video about how dumb he is and how much of an idiot he is and that he doesn't know what he's doing. His track record in 2 drafts as a Detroit Lion, and let's not forget, as the Detroit Lions GM, and let's not forget the fact that where everybody thought that Jared Goff was a throwaway quarterback, that he was part of the deal, that they had to take him. Let's not forget. See, I believe that Brad Holmes knew exactly what he was doing and that Jared Goff had to be part of the deal. 100%. See, some of y'all might think that Jared Goff was a throw-in quarterback, that he was find somebody, the Rams' job was to find somebody stupid enough to absorb his ridiculous contract, right? That's not what this was. This was a strategic move. The same way that I understand now and have understood for a few weeks now that the TJ Hawkinson trade was a strategic move. The only thing, like I said, I did not like is the fact that it was inside the division. But now I'm looking at it, it doesn't really matter. We have not lost any production. We have not missed TJ Hawkinson one bit. And on top of that, we got rid of a guy who did not want to be here. So what you heard from our GM was emotion. The same emotion that Dan Campbell showed last year when we kept missing out on games. That's the kind of guy that you want to have running your team. This has me excited. I can't believe, I am sad that the season is over. The Detroit Lions season is over. Forget the NFL season. I'm sad that our team season, because we can't show off anymore. But knowing the emotion, seeing this type of emotion from our GM makes me feel great about the future. That we have a tremendous draft and a tremendous free agency on the way. So that was your GM, Brad Holmes, letting his emotions run wild after being thanked by Penei Sewell and St. Brown for bringing him to a place that is known to destroy careers. That is your GM, ladies and gentlemen, Brad Holmes.